An economic downturn is a period of negative economic growth characterized by a decrease in business activity, employment rates, and the overall production of goods and services. This episode addresses the question, should you start a business during an economic downturn?
Our Favorite Tools for Entrepreneurs podcast addresses tools and concepts that are useful for the launch and growth of entrepreneurial ventures. Your two hosts will be Professor Gary Palin and serial entrepreneur Ryan Budden.
Hello, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastically. What about you, Professor Palin?
I'm doing real well. I'm glad to see that you're still moving around after that ski event that you were telling me about.
Yeah. Everyone survived unscathed, actually. It was great.
Excellent. You had a good time?
Yeah, we did. 4 feet of snow, I think, is the most I've ever been in. So it's really fun.
Excellent. Well, Ryan, today I'd like to talk about a topic that I've always found interesting. As you know, I've had a span of years in my career, so I've seen tremendous ups and downs in economic situations and probably everywhere you can imagine. Yep. Very often people have said to me when it's a down economy is like, oh, don't start a business. My theory is today is a great day to start a business.
Yeah, one could say it's your motto.
That's the truth. Let's talk a little bit about the pros and cons and maybe some examples of types of businesses that you can start in a downturn economy. So what are your thoughts of the pros and cons of starting a business in a downturn economy?
Well, I think that you've said you have a number of years with experience. I think you may have had to have rehearsed that line to make that seem as concise as possible. I don't have as many years in a downturn economy in particular. Since graduating college, the economy's been extremely strong for me. Just as a general principle, though, starting your own business gives yourself a lot more insight into the economic future for you personally. When you have a job, you're just essentially handing that insight over to your boss or your boss's boss or whoever's making the hiring and firing decisions based on finances.
You mentioned getting out of college. When I graduated from college, but a year or two after when I was starting a business, the interest rates were in the mid-teens.
There we go.
So that was definitely a con issue, but I still started the business more because I didn't know. But even so, the monetary situation is a factor. Just in the news recently, we see Silicon Valley Bank is going down, and there's all types of issues addressed with that, and whether the interest rates, the government's reactions, are they going to be bringing them down as a result of that to try to mitigate some of the pain that's happening in the market? Those are all factors that economic situations impact the start of a business.
Absolutely. They certainly do. Not just monetarily, but people's outlook on how many products and services they're buying at the moment.
There's a con is access to finance. Another con that I can think of is our consumers spending less money.
Right.
So that could be a negative factor, but you can then flip that to a pro if you're targeting areas that are alternatives. Say, for example, people might not be spending as much money on vacations, but can you have a business that they're getting their leisure entertainment at home for less dollars? That could be a pro and a business opportunity.
Yeah, at home or just locally. I feel like a lot more of the focus does become local when the economy downturns, whereas people are traveling greater distances when they have the money to do so.
Very typically, you'll see in a downturn economy, one of the pros is you can get access to more talent. That seems to be different in today's environment. There could be the backlash of COVID and all the issues with people not working as a result. But when I talk to people in business, even as the economy slowed down, one of the bigger problems they're having is hiring quality help.
Just yesterday, we were driving down the street and looking at the for hire signs or hiring signs. And it's pretty incredible to see how many of these businesses just in the local area are clearly struggling to hire if they're posting a huge sign in front of their business.
I look at it probably because I'm dealing with more technology businesses, and getting talent has always been a difficult in the technology business. But with a downturn of economy, I think there's a market of recently retired individuals, or maybe even not so recently, that are very talented, that need a little extra income. There could be this big gray talent pool sitting there that you can bring them into your venture and have some seasoned help to drive your business.
That's an interesting one. I wouldn't have thought about that, to be totally honest. But you're right. People that had their retirement incomes based on the economy are now seeing that income shrink or diminish in some way and redoing the math on how many years they have in their retirement.
There's a lot of talent sitting there.
That's very cool. You might be the gateway into that.
Well, when you're looking at any business opportunity, I ignored your zing on my age, by the way. When you're looking at any business opportunity, there's very often a pro and a con side to it. And it's the old expression, can you make lemonade out of lemons? And that would be an example.
Absolutely. Just because people are getting tighter in their spending doesn't mean they're not spending at all.
Now, another area on the pro side will be just the explosion of technology. And we see this for a result of many areas. And there's always been a growth of technology, but it seems to be more rapidly escalating. And the types of businesses that you can start because of those technologies can be a very strong factor for starting a business during this time.
Absolutely. It's also interesting to see what businesses are becoming recessionary. Historical businesses are sometimes no longer relevant. There are entire industries now that weren't around during the last recession. So seeing which one of those businesses or investment models or strategies are going to be the recessionary models.
Yet I also like to look at what are the ramifications of people with less money in their pocket. One would be they're not as apt to buy, say, a new appliance. They're more apt to have it repaired. So there's opportunities for maintenance and repair of equipment that might not be as strong during a strong economy.
Sure. What other businesses have you seen thrive during a downturn?
There's frugal living, advice for budgeting. So you can sell information based on how to stretch that dollar, along the line with education and training, health and wellness. So people may not be going to the gym. That might be one of the things they've cut back. So are there any in-home type of health issues, exercise equipment that you can address?
Very cool. I like that.
Another is online businesses.
Yeah, particularly for the business owner as well, because oftentimes the online business aspect can really cut that overhead down.
If you're working, say, in the digital marketing area for a firm and you're downsized, well, you can do an awful lot of outsourcing. And there are platforms that you can just post on that you can sustain yourself. It might be more of a side hustle or a lifestyle business, but you can make a decent income doing that.
Absolutely. We've seen the gig economy pop up all over the place, and people are making not only decent incomes, but fantastic incomes based on it.
You've had some experience in outsourcing coding activities.
Oh, very much so. Yep. I've outsourced coding to many countries around the world, onshore, nearshore, and offshore.
Another area that I would look at would be the regulatory environment. Today, I don't think we'll see a reduction in regulatory environment from the federal government, but I would look at my state government to see if they're making it easier and lowering the regulation barriers to assist the growth of businesses in their community. That'd be something I'd focus on also.
Yep.
Yeah, and there are some things also, too, is you're looking at demand of healthcare. Well, that's not going to go away.
Right.
Because no matter whether it's an upturn or a downturn, people's health are their health. But you see various types of applications for telemedicine, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Virtual medicine is exploding at the moment, and I think that's going to take over more and more of the normal medical field, but also the rural medical access. So people that don't have a quick access to a doctor can now bring the doctor into their home instantaneously.
As you see, there's many different ways. We're just touching on a few, but I would think to conclude, it's just how are you looking at this and where are you seeing the opportunities? So there are opportunities out there, but it's just a matter of paying attention to the current situation and looking for those specific opportunities in driving your business or pivoting your current business in that direction.
Absolutely. I think the first step is realizing we are in a downturn. And then it's looking at how people are going to react a little differently.
There's always opportunity and change.
That's right.
That's my parting thoughts. Any final conclusions, Ryan?
Well, I'd say we've recapped it pretty well.
Sounds good. We appreciate it. And enjoy your next skiing trip.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to our Favorite Tools for Entrepreneurs podcast. As always, you can head over to ProfSpirit.com to check out more resources and courses designed for you, the entrepreneur. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and others to get the most up-to-date information as it is released.